Hans Christian Andersen earned a global reputation for stories that combined harsh moral lessons with elements of the supernatural. He placed his characters in worlds where the rules of society are as rigid as the laws of nature. His writing often explores the friction between these two spheres, the cruel, judgmental nature of human communities, and the indifferent, often beautiful reality of the natural world. In this specific story, the environment is a simple farmyard. It looks like a quiet pasture with thatched roofs and grazing animals, but for a newcomer, it is a space defined by strict social hierarchies. This setting acts as a crucible. By placing an outsider in such a restrictive environment, Andersen sets the stage to test whether the character can survive the weight of collective judgment. The protagonist is a bird that simply does not fit the local standard. He is large and gray, standing in sharp contrast to the uniform white flock he was born into. The local animals respond to this difference with immediate hostility. They bite him, push him aside, and mock him, enforcing a social order that rewards conformity and punishes anything else. Constant exposure to this treatment changes the duckling's self-perception. He begins to see himself through the eyes of his tormentors, concluding that he is genuinely unlovable. This specific isolation mirrors the human experience of feeling out of place. It's the internal sense of being flawed because you don't match the expectations of the group. The farmyard becomes so toxic that staying is no longer an option. The rejection is the catalyst. It forces him to leave the only home he knows to seek a place where he might actually belong. He flees into the wilderness as winter arrives. He is forced to keep moving through a blinding snowstorm with no shelter and no clear destination. The landscape offers no comfort. The physical freezing of the marsh mirrors his internal isolation. He is a creature with no heat and no community to turn to. He hides in the reeds to avoid predators and is chased away from human homes. Every door is closed, and every interaction in the wild is a reminder of his vulnerability. Survival becomes a matter of waiting. He cannot change the weather or his appearance, so he must endure the cold day by day, hoping for a shift in the conditions. This endurance is both physical and emotional. To survive, he must keep moving despite the exhaustion of constant flight and the weight of absolute isolation. He attempts to settle with wild ducks and geese, but even they eventually reject him. He discovers that the exclusion he felt at the farmyard follows him into the wider world. These repeated failures take a toll. Each time he is driven away, the psychological cost of trying again increases, and his sense of self-worth sinks further. This loop shows his struggle. He attempts connection, faces rejection, retreats into isolation, and out of necessity finds hope to try again. Over time, despair shortens. He develops a grim persistence, moving quickly from isolation to his next attempt because survival demands it. Perseverance, in this context, isn't about a grand strategy. It is the simple, repetitive act of picking yourself up after a failure and continuing to move forward. When spring finally arrives, the ice cracks and clears. The environmental pressure that nearly killed him suddenly lifts, revealing a calm, inviting lake. He lands on the water and sees 3 beautiful white swans. They are the most graceful creatures he has ever seen, and he feels a strange, magnetic pull toward them. He still expects to be attacked or mocked, so he swims toward them with his head bowed, fully prepared for one final act of rejection. But as he looks down, he sees his reflection in the clear water. He is no longer a clumsy gray bird. He is a swan, identical to the creatures he had admired from afar. For the first time, his external appearance matches the world around him. The long-standing tension between the character and his environment is finally resolved. The other swans welcome him immediately. They don't ask him to change or prove himself. His biological reality is all the evidence they need to offer him a place in the flock. The lesson here is about context. The same traits that made him a failure in a farmyard are the exact qualities that make him a success on the lake. While his transformation was a natural result of growing up, Andersen's story highlights how he navigated the journey, with the patience to wait out the winter, the persistence to continue after every judgment, and a lasting gentleness toward others. These themes have kept Andersen's work at the center of literary history, a legacy captured in the monuments built to honor his storytelling. In the end, belonging isn't about changing who you are. It's about surviving the journey long enough to find the environment where your true nature is finally visible.